Welcome back. 39 past on this Friday morning. Now, this is National Tire Safety Week. As summer vacations get underway, a lot of people will be hitting the road. But before you do, or even if you're just driving to and from work, one of the most important things you can do is make sure that your tires are safe. TV6's Andrew Lacombe getting some tire tips this morning at Fry Chevrolet in Marquette Township to tell us more. Morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Vicki, and welcome back. We're glad to have you back with us on this Friday. And like you said, I know a lot of people's summer vacations started up this week. They want to get on the road, go on a road trip, but they got to check out their tires. It's the most critical part of your car because it makes direct contact with the road. A lot to keep in mind, and we're going to be getting some tire tips and some tips on other summer maintenance tips for cars coming up throughout the morning. But I'm joined now by Jim Grunstrom, the dealer here at Fry Chevy in Marquette Township. And so, Jim, tell me what things people should keep in mind about their tires.
Well, good morning. I think the hot buttons for me would be certainly inflation, the amount of pressure that's in them, rotation, the ability to keep them wearing flat, at best as possible, avoiding road hazards, and certainly the last one, if not least, would be nitrogen, which would be another way to put the air-type substance inside the tires.
Okay, I know Greg had a question about the nitrogen, so we'll talk about that later, and just some other questions about just balancing your pressure in tires, just things that a lot of people might not know about, so we'll answer those questions coming up, and some other car parts that are important for the summer.
Certainly. Brought some interesting examples of bad brake parts that are worn out and tired and time to go to the disposal site, and a couple of air filters and a couple of in-cab air filters because all of that plays into the quality of the car's running and certainly the quality of your experience inside the car trying to keep the dust out.
All right, Jim, thanks so much for being here. We'll be back here again the next half hour on your morning show, but now we'll go back to the studio live in Marquette Township. Andrew Lacombe, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. Looking forward to hearing more about tire safety, and I think that And welcome back, everyone. About 15% of drivers here in the U.S. don't know about proper tire maintenance. Now, experts say it's a very important safety function that's often neglected. So before you hit the road for a trip this summer, you're going to want to pay attention to those tires. By the way, this is National Tire Safety Week. So this morning, TV6's Andrew Lacombe learns more about tires at Fry Chevrolet in Marquette Township. Andrew?
Good morning again, Vicki. We're in the new showroom here at Fry Chevy in Marquette Township, like you said, and we're surrounded by new cars, of course, like this new Chevy Sonic that just keeps catching my eye, the bright red color. But, you know, it's, of course, has some new tires, but not everyone has new tires on their new cars, so we're looking at some examples like these here that might be more familiar to you at home of things that you want to look at before you get on the road this summer. And joining me again is Jim Grunstrom, the dealer here at Fry Chevy. And so tell me what we see in these tires that people should look for at home.
Certainly. Well, interestingly enough, we score tires in kind of a green, yellow, and red situation. And so as the green one, although we don't sell green tires, the green one is actually an example of the manufacturer's greenness to build tires. But it is the perfect tread. And what we're trying to show here with this green tire is how crystal clear the tread is, how very sharp the corners are, the ability for it to squirt water out from underneath it on a rainy highway or snowy highway. And that is really the epitome of a brand new tire off the rack. As we move over towards this one, the middle one, we would score this one probably in a yellow to red situation. It's a tire that we took off a customer's vehicle here in the last day. But it shows wear that is somewhat uniform across the center of it, which is a good thing, but it's got this very scuffed off or almost bald side to it, and that would be probably an indication that we've got some alignment issues. Alignment being that the car wants to point down the road the same direction the tires do when it's going straight. On this side, obviously it's a little bit different, so we can see some of the tread still remaining, and it's not this bald situation that this side has. So obviously this tire was changed. It's in its very last days of being a functional tire, but a good example of a couple other things that tires need to have done to them. Lastly, this one over here wore very, very nice and flat, but there's little or no tread left. It's pretty much a flat surface tire. This side is about as smooth as that side is, and we can see the wear bars coming through in the center of the tread. So all of this material here that was like the green one is totally gone. And so that's definitely what we would score as a red tire, and obviously the customer identified that also when we took it off their car.
Okay, now, Jim, we're going to talk more about some tire tips and other car parts coming up later on. But first, I just want to ask about the importance of making sure tires are of equal pressure in all different parts of the car.
Absolutely. Tire pressure is a critical factor in the ability for the car to run the way the engineers and the manufacturers made it. So on the modern car systems today, there are tire pressure monitors which are actually built into the valve stems. There isn't a wire that connects your tire to the computer, but through telemetry we can tell what the pressure is. The idea being that the tires should be to manufacturer's specs or very, very close to it. All four of them, generally speaking, have the same amount of pressure in them. There might be some rare examples where the rears, because of carrying heavy loads, would have more pressure in them than the fronts, like on a pickup truck. But generally, the number is symmetrical, all four positions, and it should match. And the tire pressure monitoring system identifies a shortfall in one or more of those positions, and then obviously we have to go and either add air or add nitrogen and or look for why. And generally speaking, if you've got 1 out of 4 that doesn't want to be happy all the time, chances are there's probably a nail in it.
And how important is it to take care of that right away?
It's actually really, really important. Some bad things happen when tires get low. Unfortunately, as long as the tire still has air in it, it looks like it's inflated. It's very difficult to tell whether a tire has 10 pounds of pressure in it or 32 pounds because it's flat and it's round and it's black and it's dirty, and none of us want to kneel down there alongside of it and look. So tire pressure is critical, and if you have a tire pressure sensor telling you that tires are low, it should be addressed fairly quickly. I wouldn't certainly pull over to the highway and park, but it's time to deal with it.
Okay, Jim, thanks so much for being here and telling us more about tire safety. We'll be coming back later on this morning, but we'll head back to the studio now, live in Marquette Township. Andrew Lacombe, TV6 News.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. Stuff for us to all keep in mind.
Welcome back, everyone. This is National Tire Safety Week, and as summer vacation gets underway, many people will be hitting the road. But before you do, or even if you're just driving to and from work, one of the most important things you can do is to make sure your tires are safe. TV6's Andrew Lacombe is getting some tire tips this morning. He joins us again from Fry Chevrolet in Marquette Township with more. Andrew?
Hey, Greg, earlier we were talking about the importance of checking on your tire alignment and tire pressure. Those are things that you can go to a local car shop, and many of them will check those things out for free, let you know what you need to fix before you hit the road this summer. Now we're going to talk about something else, about tires. Jim Grunstrom back with us. And Jim, we were talking earlier about nitrogen in tires, and is that something that still a lot of cars have?
Absolutely. Nitrogen is something that many automobile dealerships are putting in tires today. It doesn't come from the factory with nitrogen. Good old air is in the tire. But nitrogen is a very, very stable gas. There's very little moisture involved in nitrogen. It keeps the tire pressures much more consistent than air does, and it doesn't run up with heat of friction running down the road in the summertime. So tires are going to run a little cooler, consistently better on the pressure situation, and just a better investment actually in the tire lasting a long time by changing out air and putting nitrogen in.
This Traverse has nitrogen-filled tires. Is it something that doesn't matter what kind of car, it can just benefit everyone?
It can benefit everyone, absolutely. The tire actually runs perfectly fine on air. Nitrogen is an enhancement, I guess is what I would call it, as far as the life of the tire, the ability for the tire to remain in that same pressure all the time, and generally that's a super important thing for customers.
Okay, Jim, a couple other things that you brought to show us this morning, are just things people keep in mind and look out for as they get ready to travel this summer. Tell us what we got here.
Sure. Most importantly, one of the things that we found recently in our service department is actually this brake rotor, and generally speaking, you shouldn't be able to see a business card sticking through the metal. But if you look real closely, and maybe the crack can show, the actual hub is coming off the rotor. This rotor is actually scrap steel. There's no value to this at all, and actually we're very, very fortunate that the customer came in at that time and we were able to catch this for them because this is a quick, short order way of potentially having the tire and wheel come off the car. It would disconnect, unfortunately, and pieces of where the caliper runs would remain from the hub, and that would be bad. So a good catch on our technician's part, certainly a good thing for the customer to get fixed.
Something else that might be a good time to look at is your filters. We have a good example of a clean one and a dirty one here. Why are these important to check?
The fuel economy is really a measurement of amount of gasoline going in the engine and the amount of air going in the engine. This bright white one obviously is a brand new air filter out of a new truck. This one actually is the identical filter, but very, very dirty. And so when we make air filters catch dirt, the concept is that less and less air is going to get into that car and mix with the air and fuel mixture appropriately. So air filters are something that we want to watch. Interestingly enough, in today's situation, an air filter really has the ability to spill dirt into the inside of the motor, and so we're very careful and cautious about how we take this out of the car without dusting the engine, is what it's called, and that's not a good thing because we don't want any more extra dirt in the engine that absolutely has to get in there. The other filter that we have is actually the in-cab air filter. And with springtime here and allergies and dust and whatnot, if you can write your name on your windshield, if you can write your name on your dash display and whatnot, chances are your in-cab air filter is getting dirty and it's not catching the dirt that it wants to. So an in-cab air filter once a year, especially in the springtime, is really another good thing, which would make your summer driving fun a lot more fun if you had the windows up and the air conditioning on.
All right, Jim, thanks so much for giving us these tips before people hit the road this summer. And, I'm actually heading down to Detroit this weekend to see a Tigers game, so I want to check out my tires before I hit the road after work today. So thanks, Jim, and we'll head back to Greg in the studio now live in Marquette Township. Andrew Lacombe, TV6 News.